La parole au représentant du Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me begin by thanking the Secretary General, the Foreign Minister of Chad, and members of the Security Council for their condolences and sympathies on the horrendous terrorist attack on a school in Peshawar this morning. It was a heinous, unconscionable act of savagery that has been condemned universally. The government and the people of Pakistan are committed to fighting terrorism and promoting and protecting the right to education. Families in Pakistan are devastated, and the entire nation is in a state of shock. Your words of sympathy, condolence, and solidarity have touched the hearts of the people of Pakistan. We are a resolute nation. We will overcome this menace. Mr. President, the United Nations African Union Partnership is an important constituent of the UN-led peacekeeping operations. This partnership is in conformity with Article 8 of the United Nations Charter, which creates space for cooperation between the United Nations and regional organizations to maintain and bolster peace and security. Today's debate, convened by you, comes at an opportune time, as what we discuss here today will feed into the ongoing strategic review of peacekeeping operations commissioned by the United Nations Secretary General. We welcome the strong institutional linkages established in recent years between the United Nations Security Council and the African Union Peace and Security Council in order to determine causes and drivers of violence, resolve conflicts, support joint planning exercises, and develop UN-AU operational models. Mr. President, financing for AU peacekeeping operations should be predictable and sustainable. In this regard, we agree with you that recommendations of the Prodi panel should be seriously considered for implementation, and a fresh drive should be launched to generate indigenous resources. The United Nations African Union Partnership becomes most critical in managing drawdowns and transitions. Successful transitions usher in peace building and pave the way for national, sub-regional, and regional ownership. The African Union brings with it complementary resources, expertise, and insight. The Secretary General's initiatives, like the Peace, Security, and Cooperation Framework for the DRC and the Great Lakes region, and the Integrated Strategy for the Sahel, have built upon such complementarities. Mr. President, it is important to have clearer mandates and to take preventive measures to stem relapse to conflict in fragile states. Moreover, the African Union's involvement at early stages of the United Nations Security Council deliberations on conflict resolution and conflict management would help in adopting the right course of action. The Security Council is increasingly mandating peacekeeping missions in volatile security environments. In view of the fast-developing crises and conflicts in Africa in the past year, rapid response and deployment have become imperative. Pakistan has recently decided to deploy a rapid deployment battalion in MONUSCO. It is also important to improve and harmonize the working methods of the two councils through better communication. Mr. President, it is true that the more political involvement of the African Union and African countries is there, the more they will contribute to the security initiatives, as your own paper argues. In this debate, we may also bear in mind the following general points. 1. When authorized by the Security Council, African peacekeeping operations should be supported from planning and funding to equipment, logistics, and training. Regional organizations and countries bear part of the responsibility for securing resources. In addition, resourceful countries and regional organizations should contribute more to African Union's capacity building projects and programs. 2, lessons learned from recent transitions must be collated and utilized for future missions. Interoperability is a major priority. We encourage the Secretariat to continue to develop exercise and training policies with regional organizations aimed at improving interoperability. 3, Africa, Mr. President, is the locus of the bulk of the United Nations regional and hybrid missions. Communication, consultation, and coordination between this Council and the AUPSC should be enhanced to further build mutual trust and confidence. 4, increasing regional capacities should not lead to parochialism or regionalization of peacekeeping. While drawing upon regional expertise, focus should remain on training, professionalism, and performance of peacekeepers. Emphasis on regional deployments risks peacekeepers becoming prone to taking sides and the United Nations subcontracting its responsibilities. Regions and subregions should not be removed from the international mainstream simply because they are not of strategic interest. 5, regionalization should not lead to disparity in professional levels and standards. The United Nations should strive to evolve and maintain uniform standards in training, equipment, and technology. And 6, to cement their partnership, both the United Nations and the African Union should invest heavily in peace building. Mr. President, Pakistan is deeply committed to collective efforts to strengthen peacekeeping through regional partnerships. Since 1960, Pakistan has always demonstrated a strong commitment to peace and security in Africa. The bulk of our troops are deployed in Africa. Our experience in Africa has further enhanced our appreciation for the value of regional partnership and cooperation. We will remain a steadfast partner of the African Union. I thank you, Mr. President.
Je remercie le représentant du Pakistan. Je donne la